things, you know. So that's been pretty interesting.
Instead of all the random stories of Jesus, seeing it all. All right. Serving. Anyone serve anywhere this week? In the name of Jesus.
I think just about everybody in here did.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, set up Wednesday night.
Set up Wednesday night and then
Sundown Friday.
All right. That's good for almost all of them.
Except for John.
Sharing your faith. Sharing your faith anywhere?
Work.
Your work?
Got some new guys, just got lost in. You know, we go to halfway houses and stuff and bring people that want to work. It's a great opportunity. It's kind of unfair for me because I have to share my faith all the time anyway, and I want to, but sometimes I choose and pick who I want to go share my faith with. But it's pretty cool. A lot of them are, just got out of jail or prison, and they're working the program, so kind of hearing the word about Jesus, whether it's a 12-step program or if it's, a program that through a church or, it's pretty cool to find out where these people are from and what they've done and putting everything behind them and trying to start a new life. And through Jesus Christ is the only way you're going to do it. Don't want to end up back in there. Dude, let's pray. Let's hang together. Here, this is your sanctuary, our work. You can actually come there and get away from everything. We leave all of our problems outside that door. When we walk in through that door, we're all about working for the boss, calling people on the phone, selling over the phone, and working with each other and trying to build each other up. So it gives me an opportunity to do that. So yeah, it's kind of unfair, but because I got that advantage. But there you go.
That's a really good opportunity because those guys are like at their lowest and they're receptive to just about anything you can give, right? I mean, they're looking for a new way and, already had the bad part of their life and maybe they want to change it.
But one of the other things that I got to work on, sometimes I am quiet about being a Christian, and there's a couple other guys there that have been there a while, and they'll go, hey man, you should go introduce yourself to Eddie, he's a Christian. And there's people that have been there for like 2 months ago, oh, I didn't know Eddie was a Christian. Not because I swear or anything like that, because a lot of times I kind of keep to myself. Isn't that weird? I'm more of an outgoing person.
Yeah, it's pretty weird.
It's because I know. Well, a lot of times, this job still calling people over the phone and stuff. It's still, I was always a face-to-face person. I was in sales, but I like to work face-to-face with people. Just talking over the phone, it's still, sometimes I get anxiety a little bit with it, but it goes away after a while. But sometimes I just like to keep to myself and I focus on stuff first.
All right.
But anyway.
Anyone else sharing faith? Scripture memorization. Anyone learn anything new this week? All right, there's either 5 or 6 weeks left. So if you're aiming for the high level, baby, you're going to get after it. Just saying, I can't remember what the 4 stages are. Follower, believer, disciple, leader.
Yep.
I think.
There's only
Yes,
3
everyone
though,
memorize.
right? There's only 3
There's only 3 verses. And I'm just
If we
saying,
already got one, then that only
1 a month was all it had to be. But yeah, if you want to be a follower, that means don't try on any of it. On anything.
I have half of them.
Okay.
It's,
Well, I just asked a second ago.
2 Corinthians 10:4. The weapons that we fight with are not the weapons of this world. On the contrary, they have the divine power to demolish strongholds. That's
That is cool. That's word for word. Good.
I'm trying to get 5.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time with it. I don't know why. And
We-
it says,
we demolish arguments.
Right.
And every pretension sets itself up for this long.
I know the pretension,
I know.
some of these big words.
I know,
That's what I'm trying to remember, and but I'll have that by next week, I'm sure.
All right.
I'll have the whole thing.
I'm just saying, for those that
Right.
are just trying to show up and go through a class, don't worry about any of it.
I'm trying hard.
I know,
Okay.
look at all those check marks.
I'm trying really
I'm not
hard.
talking to you. I'm not talking to you, Eddie. I'm talking to the people that are saying, you can challenge me
I
however
don't
you
know
want.
about the leader thing, but
But-
I'm working on it. I'm gonna get it, but anyway.
You can challenge me however you want, but I'm just gonna be here, be a slug. I'm just gonna put it in.
How long do you want that testimony, did you say?
I've seen one that was 30 seconds long, and I've seen them 6 minutes long.
Yeah, I got a short one.
So in between them. On all three of those. I don't care how long it is, I just care that you process it mentally and say, here's my story. Here's what I learned from this class, is the second one. And the third one is, here's what I'm gonna do with it. Because I don't care how much you know, I care what you're gonna do with it.
Well, you want that on?
Those are three separate ones.
Or on-
My story about Christianity,
Right.
how I came to Christ, that's number one. Number two is what I learned in this class. Number three is what I'm going to do with what I learned. So, 2 things, 30 seconds long. It could be 2 paragraphs if you're writing it out. So, whatever. As long as you I just want something. And the more that we put down on paper or say out loud, the more real it becomes to us. It's just a fact of life. So, and I skipped something, I don't care, because I'm going to need help with that. We're doing, tonight I just titled it Be a Man, for lack of better titling. And the premise, give me that. Thank you. I need those. The premise behind the whole thing is that I believe that feminism has really taken over a big part of our culture, and in such a way that unless you've been around for a long time and have seen what it used to be like and can compare it to now, it may be obvious to you, but for a younger generation, they don't even realize how far we've gone in a feminist culture. And so there is a generation, people pick on the millennials a lot, and they beat up on them for different things, for their work habits, for their attitudes, and all these things. But my thing is, I don't know that it's their fault, because this is the way they were raised. Someone taught them and someone trained them to do these things. And it's the generation above them that did that. And I think the generation above them is the one that got screwed up in the head, because basically what I'm trying to figure out is, what I'm trying to deal with is, what does it mean to be a man? In so many definitions that you see, what it means to be a man, I'm not talking about the physical body parts, although that may be in question these days too. I'm talking about what's it mean to be a man. And most definitions come back to, well, not effeminate, not soft, not this, not this, not this. And I'm like, well, how do you get all that garbage out of the way and distill it to a few things? And what is it that separates being a man from being a woman? And I think in our culture it's a very relevant thing, and I think it's something that hasn't been touched on in any fashion. As a matter of fact, if this class goes well enough, I'm going to see if I can write a book on this, because it's not out there. There's not only is there nothing out there about being a man and the parts of a man that are good. There's nothing on godly man, on being a godly man. And so the stuff I found so far, I have for us tonight, but I want to get some of your input on these things after I go through it once real quick. Number one, First Chronicles 7:40. It's a listing of the numbering of the nation of Israel. And it says something interesting. It just says, all the descendants of Asher. So he's one of the heads of the tribes. And it lists these men that were from the tribe of Asher. It says, heads of families, choice men, brave warriors, and outstanding leaders. The number of men ready for battle as listed in their genealogy was 26,000. So the men of Asher had these 4 characteristics that set them apart. That's all you get in the scripture. Those 4 descriptions. So I started doing some research, and I was talking to a friend of mine who's up in Montana, and I was talking to him and said, man, I'm doing this class this summer. And he said, that's crazy, because I just got done doing the same idea. And so we started talking about this passage and then how that fleshes out to some of the other things, plus some other things I read. And there's 4 roles that I see that men play. Number 1, leader. Number 2, lover. Number 3, protector. And number 4, mentor. And what I did is I just want to describe them quickly and then get your guys' input. I'm going to talk about how Jesus lived this out, how the Bible tells us to, and then we'll talk about specifics. So number 1, men are supposed to be leaders. That goes back to the head of families with the men of Asher. Jesus was a leader of his family. When Jesus was on the cross, as he was up there on the cross dying, he looks down and he sees his mother and he sees his best friend. And he says to his mother, hey, John is going to take care of you from now on. And John, I want you to take care of my mom. I'm going to be gone, so I want to make sure you take care of her. That's specifically in the Bible, that Jesus is making sure he's taking care of his family. There's conjecture in there, but we'll leave that for some other time. For us, the Bible says in 1 Corinthians 11, I want you to realize the head of every man is Christ. The head of every man should be Christ. And the head of woman is man. In the family, God has set apart different roles for family members, and the man is supposed to be the head of the household. And when we talk about leader, we're going to be talking about being a godly leader. The problem with most men is they take that role of leader, and either they're very domineering, aggressive, and this is how it's going to be, or they're wimpy and they sit to the side, and then they make their wife make all the decisions. And being a leader means in between those 2 things. Number 2, a lover. When Jesus had some really close friends, Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, and Jesus heard that Lazarus was sick, and he waited a couple days. He went to visit Lazarus. By the time he got there, Lazarus was dead. And so the sisters came out to greet Jesus one at a time, Martha and then Mary. And it says here in John, it says when Jesus saw her weeping, and the Jews who had come along with her weeping, he was deeply moved in spirit and troubled. Where have you laid him? Come and see, Lord. And then this is where Jesus wept. And the Jews looked and said, see how much he loved him. See what a close friend he was. Jesus was a lover of people. And Lazarus was one of his closest friends. And Lazarus died. Even though Jesus knew he was going to rise from the dead, because he was going to do it here pretty quick, still, the pain and the sorrow that family was going through was something that touched his heart, because he cared. And God tells us, that the greatest 2 commands in the Bible tells us to be lovers. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. And the second greatest command, love your neighbors yourself. God has commanded us to be lovers of people. Third, we are supposed to be protectors. Protectors. Jesus, as a protector, he went to the temple one day where people went to worship God. They went to offer their sacrifices. When he saw a marketplace. He saw these animals all over the place, yelling, people haggling, and then he really saw the Jewish leaders overcharging people to go and worship God. And he was just so furious. It says in John that he sat down and made a whip of cords. He made a whip and chased the animals out, turned the tables over of the money changers, and chased the people selling stuff out of the temple. That had to have been something. Jesus didn't do it just because he was sort of hissy fit. Jesus did it to protect the people, the poor people who had traveled all this way and couldn't afford to come and worship God. That's the motivation behind what he did. He's there protecting people. And God tells us to do the same thing. In Deuteronomy, he says, don't deprive the alien, which is not the extraterrestrials, but the people from other countries. Don't deprive them or the fatherless of justice, or take the cloak of the widow as a pledge. People from other countries that come here, we need to make sure we don't deprive them of justice. The orphans, we need to make sure that someone is looking out for them. The widows, we need to make sure they're getting taken care of. That's a part of our job, is to be a protector of people. And the fourth is mentor. A mentor is someone who teaches other people. Jesus went up on a mountainside to pray. He'd been teaching for probably about a year, maybe a year and a half. And he said, wow, he's got all these different followers. So he went up on a mountainside, prayed all night. And in the morning, he came out and chose the 12 apostles, the ones that he was going to train. He designated them as apostles, that they might be with him and that he could send them to preach. So out of all the crowds of people, he picked 12 and said, I'm going to invest my life. You're going to live with me. You're going to hear me. You guys are going to get to have special access to me. He trained up those 12. Lost one of them, but the other 11 did a pretty good job. As far as organizations go, when you look at Christianity, starting with 120 people when Jesus went to heaven, and now there's billions of people worldwide, did a pretty decent job on that. We are supposed to be mentors as well. We are supposed to be people who don't just take stuff in, but teach others. Paul wrote to Timothy and said this, the things you've heard me say. So Paul says, Timothy, things that you heard me say in the presence of many witnesses, entrust to reliable men who will also be qualified to teach others. So you've got Paul writing to Timothy saying, teach people who can be teachers of people. Entrust to reliable men who are qualified to teach others. So there's 4 layers there. That's how the gospel is passed on. Someone tells you about it. As followers of Christ, that's part of our responsibility, is to be a mentor, is to be a teacher to other people. So, those are the 4 roles that I see that match up just sociology-wise, but also match up biblically. And so I want to go back and deal with those one at a time. I want to get you guys' thoughts, your input on the man being a leader. Do you have questions about that, or thoughts about that, comments about that?
I think in this generation, we are, and that is changing, is the women are taking the role of
The women are taking a bigger role,
yes.
okay? I agree that that's happening, but I'm thinking it shouldn't be happening. I think the reason the women are standing up and taking the role is because too many men have said, yeah, I'm done, and have stepped out of that leadership position.
A lot of them stepped totally away from the family.
Huh?
A lot of them have stepped totally away from the family.
A lot of them stepped away from the family, so the mom is there by herself.
Yeah.
Right.
Our system is for the woman and not for man. So all they are doing is walking away from a relationship.
Right.
They know it's wrong, but that is the society.
Okay.
A lot of that has changed. A lot of men are taking the kids from them. Okay, they've been proven to be productive parents. And I know I, for one, took myself away from their life.
Okay.
And so it's not the courts are leading to the women, the courts are leading to the strong person who's going to raise a child.
In Arizona, I think that's really true. Arizona has a lot more rights for the man than a lot of places.
It's having to step up. We look throughout history, the things I've read, this has always been going on, but it's really prevalent and forced into schools and teaching everybody as a whole, and that's probably that secular, Marxist kind of push into your face. You see the read stories from the Civil War, and because a lot of men didn't come home, and said they had a lot of feminine young men then, even though they were had to come on, raising families. And then you got the depression, all the men leaving. Actually, you talk about that too, men left their families because of the strife and the hard times and all that stuff. So there's always a wave of things, and it's probably always happened out through the history of the world. But you talk about in your face, what's going on in the feminine. My mother is a very atheist, communist individual and open about it. And it's funny that I'm the opposite. So, and then it's always in your face, so you're always trying to figure out, how do I balance this out? And that's where there's always a little wave. I think we've seen small waves now that people are trying to, because I see some young men that are like overcompensating for the opposite today, being more aggressive, being more, like I'm going to be more macho, and stuff like that. I remember as a kid, we were talking about not being a man. You would go around pinching the girls. Well, obviously we know that was, but obviously I was a young teen too, so then you were taught not to, right? And then you read Mad Men, that way they treated women, but the thing is, we know that's not 100% true. We know that was great, but at the same time, there was a change of, that was an industrial revolution, that women started working in the workplace, and it was like a kind of a fight, and then the the secular government push on getting the women in the workforce to make us all the same. So that's, again, now we're battling on that, what's gender mean anything? Because even when, a boy can have a dog or go and have a truck, we gravitate towards that automatically because really you're who you are. I mean, if you're born a man, you're a man. I mean, it's like that's just your genetic parts. So it's a complicated issue.
Oh, it is, and that's why I'm trying to.
I know that in my family, I try to abuse that authority of the head of the family. Ever since I started coming to church here, they're throwing that in my head, saying, hey, you're the leader. And so I thought, that meant the dictator, which I was wrong about that. I'm not the dictator. I'm just a person to guide my family as a leader as far as, trying to teach them the right way to do things like my kids, and try to keep them in church, and learn about God. But I kind of had a whole head of the family totally the wrong way from when I grew up. My dad was kind of more of like a dictator. He did what he said, and I don't think the head of the family actually means that you have to be the total ruler and boss. You have to be part of it, but still.
Well, remember what Jesus said about being a leader. If you want to be great in my kingdom, then you're a servant leader. And what I think the best definition I've heard of that is just the idea that your role as a leader, whether it's at work or at home or wherever, is to, what can you do to help everyone else become the best that they can be? And when you see your role as a leader of that in the home, I think that's very empowering. Does anyone have any issue with the man who is supposed to be the leader of the house? No. Okay? Now, how you divide the roles up in your house, I don't think it matters. If your wife, my wife used to love to mow the lawn. So she'd get on the tractor, put her cowgirl hat on, and she would go mow a couple acres of lawn. Why? Because she didn't have to do it with the kids for a while. Plus she loves the sun. And so, it was, so she loved everything about that. That was just really cool. I don't think that those roles, but what it comes down to is we've always told the kids, hey, as a family, we want to make decisions, and we want to get everybody's input, and then, every once in a while we'll throw a vote in there, and that's fine, we can vote, but I get 6 votes, Ken gets 3, Bryson gets 1, Chloe gets 1. So, we can vote however you want. Yeah. Because it was saying, and what we were saying jokingly there was, there is a hierarchy in here. Now, I don't think that we've ever, I would have to ask Pam, because she'd probably remember better, but we've never got to the place where we just said, you know what? I have to make the final decision, and it's all going to be on me. Because for us, in our household, what we've done is just say, we come to an agreement on things. Eventually, we come to whatever's right. I think men get this idea that I'm the leader, I'm in charge. And I want all the privileges that go with it instead of all the responsibilities. And when you see that you have all the responsibilities of the family, that puts it in a different light.
You see, business, I always bring it back. See, I read a book years ago, I forget who the author was, very wealthy businessman, and he wrote about Solomon, and he wrote it as, you know, the biblical way of doing it. When you said that, I brought that up, is because if you ever even go to leadership, business, stuff like that, the first thing is always serve, and that's how we're always taught, that the only way you can lead is you serve first, because nobody's going to, you can lead by telling them, and most people aren't going to listen to you, or tell you to, like, whatever, but, so it's first serve, and then you become that leader by, because that's your role to bring, you're bringing people with you, and you're showing them how to do that, and they can see it, there's a lot of people talk, just bring it up, because what's on television, it's truck everywhere, right? If you look how he started the same way, and as you read about how his kids were, they started, people ask about who's deserving. They don't think they deserve anything. He told them, you can earn it. He made them go to school, they dig ditches, they worked at the docks with the union guys, and they hustled with everybody for junk pay. You know, they're billionaires, but they worked to get to where they were going. And so they served first. So even if you see that leadership, he knew he needed to serve first, so he needed to teach his kids that. And it's in biblical parts on our leadership, and I think that's where people lose, because we keep trying to take that out for years now. I mean, more now than usual, but probably always have been, but more now today than ever. It's like taking that biblical part of serving.
Okay.
I think most of the parents that I knew were dictator fathers. And there's a huge difference between, I think now we've got more information, and I may be wrong, I don't know, but I believe now we have more information of what it means to be a leader, more books, more, seminars and that. And when you bring it down to, what you just said, that we're supposed to love our family, our wives, like Christ loved the church, well, it's sacrifice. And that's very, very difficult. And I think why a lot of men, there's 50% or maybe even more of divorces, I don't think men can handle it. It's I know as a leader, there's been so many times that I just wanted to speak my mind, and it would have caused, the fire in my soul would have caused more burnt damage than, approaching it from a sacrificial place. And instead of being the dictator, and I know that I've spoken with many people about how I've had to learn to become a better leader, and I know that I do a better job based on the feedback. I was not so good at it when I started. I was more the dictator. This is the way we're going to do it, and I was harsh in tone at times, and if somebody didn't, fall in line, I didn't know how to be more sacrificial, be more servant-hearted. I think it's a huge, it's a very, very difficult thing for men to learn what it means to sacrifice.
All right. So there are two places the Bible specifically talks about men being the head of a family and in the church. Those two things. Government, whatever. Business, whatever. But we see those two things there. But men just need to approach it with the right one. Men need to approach it with the right attitude and with the right heart. And when men do that, it's very attractive. It's very attractive. And it's something that you go, yeah, I want to be a part of that. Okay, so leader. The second one is lover. And that's just the idea. The problem is, again, the feminist culture, that we've equated love is this marriage that happens, and it's happily ever after, which is like some of the worst words in the entire world, but you notice how all the movies end there? The couple finally gets together, they get married, and it's this fabulous wedding, and the music is playing, and the birds are flying, and it's happily ever after. Well, that's great for a day, but that ain't life. And I think that love means much more than those feelings. For men, the love that we have for people, as you're talking about, is a sacrificial love for others. And that's where, when we do that, we become like Christ. Sacrifice, guys will go through basic training, and work and suffer with all those guys, and when they get on the battlefield, they'll jump on a grenade for those guys, because they're brothers in arms, because they've been through so much together. But you take that same guy home, put him in front of a TV, and have his kid up to him, and he's watching the game, and have his kid come up to him and say, "Dad, can we go play catch?" And the dad says later, "No, get out of here," you know? And I think a lot of guys haven't seen the sacrificial part of love and how that comes out in daily life. Thoughts about that? Comments? Questions?
You know, my dad, he was a pretty smart man. We were raised Catholic, so I'm not trying to get you Catholic this. But when my mom and dad got married, we lived in LA. And this going back, it's almost 60 years ago. My dad said, "If we're gonna have a family, I want to bring up the family in a very small town." Like Vancouver, I was born in a small town. There's a lot to be said about that. They found us a small town called Lockport, Illinois, to the Midwest, because my aunt said that. And that's the thing, when you go and you have a small town, it's so much easier to be the leader of your family, to bring your family up, because they're not getting all this stuff sucked from all these other, you know, when you're in a big city. My dad felt that he would lose us kids in the big city. So he was smart when it came to that. We had a church down the street from us. We went to church on Sunday. My dad did a lot of stuff with us, played catch with us. We were in baseballs. Got into the community. But the problem is now, all these communities that were small are now merged in with each other to become. I go back to Lockport, and it's not just Lockport. You got Lockport, and then 20 miles away was Romeo. Now, it's all one. And it's so tough now, because you gotta work harder with your family to say, "Hey, you know, we're Team Wallace." Like, that would be my family. This is what we do, and this is how we're gonna do things. And you know, there was no playing my mom and my dad. I would go to my mom, and my mom said, "Well, you need to go talk to your dad." Okay? Talk to my dad. She'd say, "What did your mother say?" "Come talk to you." Okay. And sit down and talk about it. That's the cool stuff. Got to be on the same page. That's the way I was raised. Today, I am so glad I am not bringing up kids in this era right now. It's tough. But yeah, the man needs to be the leader, and he needs to love his family no matter what. And the kids definitely have to be involved. I experienced all that, so that's
Yeah,
what I try to portray.
How many times do you see dad going and he's working 2 or 3 jobs for the family, and that is honorable in one way, but these people that he's doing all this stuff for, he didn't even know them, because he never sees them, never spends time with them. What are you saying, Chris?
I was just gonna say about the love, as in a family. I mean, the way I kind of measure it is if you can get through really tough times together, arguing and fighting, and still find that love again, go back and like bring it back. And I think that's a really good test of love, in your family. And it's something that if it's not there and you have a knockdown, drag out fight, you're not going to come back after that. You know, but if the love is strong enough and it's in your heart between both of you and you truly love each other, then you will be able to come back. Again.
Even if you don't feel like it. You know, even if you don't feel, even when the times you don't feel like it.
Right. But I mean, if it's not there, it won't come back. And not that, in my opinion, it has to be strong enough to make it through really tough times.
And that, you know, I think again, it comes back to us, you know, as a man, we need to be the initiator of those things. You know, we pursued the woman back in the day. Well, when there's an argument and fight now, and you know, we feel like storming off and taking off. Instead, we continue to pursue her. You know, calm down so that you don't say or do something stupid. Then you be the one to initiate the reconciliation.
usually I think the men retreat, or they go away for a little while.
Oh,
and
yeah.
then they come back, you know, they cool off a little bit, it's smart, you know, get that anger out of you a little bit and then come back.
But don't leave the house.
Huh?
But don't leave the house. That's very unsettling.
Right, well,
You
you know,
know-
like for a walk or something like that, or, you know what I mean, just
Yeah.
to like,
I don't know,
get it out of you.
what do your kids feel about that, you know? If I get in a fight with someone and they leave,
Right, and if you leave and you slam the door and swear at them as you're leaving, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
I mean, if you just say, I need to go for a little while. You know,
and I think that's,
I've had marriage counselors tell me that was okay. You know,
yeah,
It's like,
and that's,
you need to go, you know.
right, if you need to go and be by yourself and think through it, that's fine, but yeah, don't just leave and slam the door
Right.
and not letting anyone know where you're going, or I'll be back in 10 minutes, you know, you just take off. That's a little disconcerting, especially for young kids.
I know my last two marriages. First thing I told the wife is, I will not scream, I will argue, we're not gonna fight. We can't sit down and talk normal about whatever the problem is, we're not gonna fight. Until, you know.
That's easy.
I mean, my kid's mother, was screaming at me while I was driving down the road going to work. And, you know, for years I put up with that, so. When I got with the next wife, it's like, I'm not gonna fight, I'm not gonna argue. Okay, it's something in real life, we get to discuss it, we'll sit apart a little bit.
What happened in my marriage is being out the thought. She held it in, you know, and she would not, you know, say it. Just like a little bit. There was no problem. There was no problem. You know, I learned a lot on how she was raised. Her dad was a ship captain, her mom's alcoholic. So
Yeah.
she didn't have parents to teach her what a family is.
Yeah. And that's hard. It's hard. I grew up in a household. We never fought in my house. No, because we didn't talk. It's kind of hard to fight if you don't talk. And so when we got married, Pam grew up in a house. Oh yeah, you argued because you showed your love by arguing and being involved. So 3 months into our marriage, we have a fight, and I'm in one room going, we're done. I'm a statistic already. She's in the other room going, finally, he cared about someone enough to fight about it. You know? So it was just two different things.
It's kind of a healthy thing to fight a little bit, I think, to get it out. You know, not
Yeah.
disagree.
For me, if I just hold it in like that, that's not a good thing.
Right.
Because then it comes to a place where it blows up,
Okay.
and that's not good.
At the wrong time.
Yeah, that's not a good thing. You need to deal with it and have those conversations because you love them.
She went the other way,
Yeah,
you know, instead of staying home and talk about it, she took off.
yeah, because you blow up eventually. All right, man being a protector. Man being a protector, looking out for other people.
Oh, God protect.
Do you have thoughts, questions about this?
Would protector fall in the same category as a provider?
No.
No, I don't know where to put provider in here. That's why we're talking through this.
I think that's a
Provider would be part of
being
the
a man,
law.
it's just stepping up. It's
Provider could fall.
somebody's being abused some way, physically,
I
verbally, or
know.
something, just to, you're speaking out. I mean, obviously, we're all different shapes and sizes and different things.
Stand up.
Yeah, you may not, a lot of times, most of the times, I don't think most of us have been in a situation where we had to physically protect somebody else. But verbally and emotionally, we can protect others.
But I mean, isn't that the classic male fantasy?
What?
Is some guy is messing with your family and showing it off.
Yeah. Ideally, and if you're bigger than the other dude, that works for you.
You just hope it's a little guy. Does that?
Yeah, the guy goes and kills the dragon and rescues the princess. Right, exactly. And that
Yeah,
works
until
when
the
you're-
last fight I ever had. I was being stupid and using the macho, and pushed a guy in a snowbank, and then somebody broke up the fight, and later on I found out that this guy was the toughest guy in the entire 30,000 city. He was like a 4th degree Dan Marshall, you know, black belt.
That's tough.
And I was fearing my life for 2 or 3 weeks that we were still playing up there. And that was the last time that I ever played that game.
Right. Because we
Then how you
should
ended up
be in a
here?
place where we should be able to handle things
Most
where
part-
it's not physical.
Most part of the world, we're not.
Yeah. Yeah, where we are right now.
It's smaller,
Like,
weird
uh,
situation.
That's what separates us from.
How about you, Dave? For example, I had 2 boys. One boy was a skinny little large at 8, and the other was 10. This kid that was 10, he looked like he was a lot older, you know, and when some kid threw sand at his brother, he stepped in and was protected. And when he told me about it, I didn't scold him. I said, you did the right thing. You were the protector of your brother.
Right.
The tough thing is balancing when Jesus says, turn the other cheek. And so, in a, well, because I don't know, I mean, I can tell you right now, I mean, I don't know what people think of me as this guy, this fat, overweight, bald guy playing the piano. But I used to play a lot of hockey, and I used to fight a lot. I took after my dad, he was like a fighter. And I know a big reason I came to Christ is because I wanted to stop that. I didn't have any problem telling someone to F off, including the president of the biggest record company in the world. And that did not serve me. And I recognized it and started really trying to find what is going on. So now I'm caught in this balance of this place of, you know, I know I'm too old to fight now, but there's a part of me that I'll tear your throat out, you know, but then the other part of me says, well, Jesus keeps saying turn the cheek, and you know, what would Peter do? You know, that's what I think. What would Peter do?
Well,
you know?
okay, but Jesus, number one, Jesus says turn the other cheek. Number one, he's really talking about being insulted there. I've preached about that before. And number 2, that's if someone's doing something to you.
Physically attacks differently.
If someone is doing something to you, turn the other cheek. If someone is doing something to someone you care about, or someone that can't protect yourselves, get in there. That's a totally different situation. Someone breaks in your house in the middle of the night, you shoot them dead, that's on them. They broke into your house, you're protecting your family, it's not murder. It's not murder. You are self-defended. And when you stand up for someone else, that's totally different than, you know, if Jacob said, you know what, I'm going to take Brian down, I'm going to start wailing on him, and he starts just punching me and stuff, I'm not going to just beat the tar out of him, okay? I might sit on him until he calms down, okay? But I'm not going to just wail into him, because that's not good. He starts messing with my kid, starts messing with my daughter, things may get more physical. If there's no video cameras around. You know, but I know.
Are you feeling uncomfortable?
I can sit on that road anymore. But there's a huge difference. I mean, there's a huge difference. Number one, Jesus, when he says turn the other cheek, because he says if someone strikes you on the right cheek, turn the left also. The only way, if you and I are stand up, Jacob. Yeah. Okay. So the only way he can hit me with his right hand on my right cheek. So how would you hit me on the right cheek with your right hand?
Back.
Which side? This is my right.
Back.
You're right, it's left.
No, use your right hand. So yeah, you either have to turn your hand around or backhand. Probably a backhand like that, right? Okay, so that's an insulting thing, right? Haven't we seen that? That's, you strike someone there as an insult. All right? So it's not in an altercation. If someone attacks you physically, you defend yourself, that's not a problem. If someone insults you, Jesus said, oh, you want to insult me? All right, well, say whatever you want, hit this side too. That's what he's talking about in that specific passage. And that has nothing to do with physical defense. Because Jesus had his disciples carrying at least 2 swords. I don't know if you caught that in the Gospels or not, but it's in there. We know that they used them at least once, because Peter did it at least once. So carrying a weapon for self-defense, it's not un-Christian, it's not un-Jesus. So, protecting yourself, there's nothing wrong with that. Protecting other people, nothing wrong with that. Just remember, whatever weapon you take, they can take away from you and use against you. So,
That kind of
careful.
role of the sheep herder, I mean, the shepherd, I mean, the protector, I mean.
oh, shepherds were absolutely protectors. Shepherds were some of the toughest warriors out there.
Yeah, I mean,
One-on-one,
Was David?
yeah, David was. Yeah,
not only that, they were with their sheep all the time.
protecting
Like
the
your
sheep
family.
from wolves. Yeah,
Always protecting them.
David killed a wolf and a bear.
Be a little bit
A
like.
bear and a lion. Huh?
Could be a little bit like a better, you know.
Take this.
Derogatory something for kids. And I said, what? And she said something, I said, yeah, let's not use that. It's just kind of saying a name. Because that kind of like, I'm teaching her to stand up too, because I said, you know, that's not, we would like somebody to call you a name like that. And she said, oh, okay. Then later on, I know she told her husband that, you know, the things she's learned, because she said, you know, Frank said, he never hates anybody, loves everybody, and, you know, not to say derogatory things about people. And so that was something she learned. Is that part of, I guess it was me teaching her to stand up, because her learning that not to say something derogatory, I'm thinking she would have mentioned that to somebody else, and then, because we had a conversation, so we'd be young. So, I would hope.
Right. All right, last one, mentor, teaching, passing on. You know, this happens in a lot of ways. You know, you see dad out in the yard playing catch with his son, or working on the car, or fixing stuff around the house, or sitting down and teaching him something. Those are things that pop in my head right away when it comes to mentor. Bike riding. Yep. Swimming. I love the John Wayne, baby. That's one of the best videos of all time. John Wayne throwing the kid in. That's awesome.
Didn't work for me.
Didn't work for you. You
Yeah, I
tried.
tried.
Didn't throw you out far.
I can't swim, so.
But to be a teacher,
Don't fly over the ocean.
but to be a mentor to someone, especially if it's your family, you got to be around. You know? Well, and here's the deal. You are a mentor to other people. As a man of the house, you are a mentor to other people. Now, the question is, what type of lessons are you teaching?
You say you have to be around.
Yeah,
I disagree with that.
yeah.
If a father is working 2 jobs, pay the bills, he is mentoring by his hard work.
In a robot.
He is mentoring by his hard work, but he's saying, isn't he saying also that I'm choosing this work over the family?
If you have to work, in order to earn the money to provide for your family,
Are you working 2 jobs to provide needs for your family or wants for your family?
you need. I guess it could be some wants, but then the family goes on a trip and spends quality time there. You know, so it's,
How quality time is it if you don't see this person for weeks on end, and then you don't know how to act when he's there? You know, you don't know how far you can go, what you can push, you know, what to say, how to act.
There's different flips of the coin. I was in the military, you were too, I was gone. I have different things going, thinking like, I was a better father with my stepdaughter than I was with my own children. Because then I realized I had that patience, I wasn't my child. And then I was able to love her more and she loved me back. And then I created a better family after making a mess in my life, right? So you made messes, but at the same time, when you're gone, sometimes there's not choices. But also it's like, People ask me sometimes, well, I gotta have balance in my life, and I said, bull crap, there's no such thing. There's no such thing as balance. And so you just have to choose your choice in your doing. And I think one of my role models, I thought that was a perfect example, what Victor said, is that sometimes that's part of being a role model, and I worked a lot with my stepdaughter. But at the same time, obviously, I chose times at certain months or weeks or things. I maybe went to something at school with her, or she danced, we went to something, so it was real short. But a lot of times might have been, we went away for the weekend, because we would do long trips with them. So I tried to be that father that way, but had to work all the time, and I think she got that work ethic, and she was phenomenal. She's a phenomenal young woman, does very well for herself, and for those things, her and her husband, because I think hopefully I was that. Obviously, I made a lot of mistakes prior, but the thing is you got to learn from that, and hopefully you forgive yourself and ask for forgiveness from Jesus.
My dad put in a lot of hours, so every May, I would take off a Friday at school, and we would go up to Wisconsin and fish, and spend quality time up there fishing. I mean, I can tell you stories where I caught the fish like this. My first catch, I have a picture on my wall, and it's things that I remember.
Oh, absolutely. I bet those were incredible trips. I bet they were fabulous. Did you want more of those?
I did, but I knew we did not have time.
I've seen those pictures.
Chris, did you have something there?
Yeah,
It's just to each his own.
I just wanted to say real quick.
No, I just was gonna say that.
Let me go.
All I wanted to say was,
I was
said it
thinking
earlier,
that,
we're all mentors, right?
Uh-huh.
And we don't know it. Because I see a lot of people in here that I view as a mentor for myself, so that's what you were saying a little bit earlier.
I said, yeah, mentor. We are mentors.
There's
It
people
just
watching.
depends on what we're teaching.
Yeah, all the time.
right.
You're a mentor, so shut up.
Mental? I know I'm mental. That's the key question, is it want or need? And my life changed when I had to look after my mom, and then I certainly had a son. Because, I spent the first 15 years of my music career, 10 to 15 years, touring and making all kinds of money, and it was for me. And then suddenly when I had those people in my life that I had to care for, I was still getting the calls to do tours, but I had to turn it down. And I had to sacrifice financially for that. Because, I'm thankful for my job here, but I made way more money in the music industry than I do serving at the church. But, you have to try to figure out, is this for my want, or is this, do I need it?
But sometimes wants and needs, you don't have the choice.
And I agree.
20 years in the military, I'll guarantee you there were a lot of times I didn't have any choice.
Well, that's
Like
different.
a year in combat, remote, I
Yeah.
didn't have any choice.
Right. But when you got back to the States,
Yeah.
when you got to the places where you said, you know what, I do have a choice. What do you do with those choices? Or what do we do with those choices? For you signed up for the military. At some point you said, you know what, I don't like the military life because of what it's doing to my family. Now, there are a lot of strong military families, so I'm not saying it's an essential, but for me, I had to do the same thing with the church. I got you all beat. If you want to do godly callings, I got you all beat. I've got a job that I could work 24/7 because there's always someone that needs something. There's always someone more I can visit. There's always more better I can do on my sermons. There's always more. And there are definitely times in life growing up where the kids, I said, hey, next month is going to be crazy. I'm going to be putting in a truckload of hours. So we're going to go on a trip right before that happens. Or we're going to go on a trip right after that happens. Because I love you guys, I want to spend time with you. And so we made concessions for those things. But for me, that's why a big thing, my day off is Friday, and I strive really hard not to work on Fridays throughout time, because for me, I've got a job that can be all consuming. And so at some point I had to make choices and say, you know what, this is what it's going to be. And I think and it's not just family, but I think the big thing to remember in all this is you are mentoring people just by showing up. And the big question you have to ask yourself is, what am I teaching? What am I teaching other people?
One
The
of the
other thing-
biggest memories I have is my dad, he jumped great. He took a shotgun and he jumped over the grate. And it was, he's all on and negative 10 temperature, and he missed the edge of the grate. So he fell backwards, into the grate. And I could only laugh, but that was, I remember,
Yeah, sure. Mike?
I was just gonna say mentoring and leadership go a lot with, I can sum it up in a few words, lead by example.
Yeah.
And that's not only leadership, that's mentoring as well. You have to be an example to be a mentor. And you have to be an example to be a good leader. And I think that's spiritual too. I mean, there are many places where it says you have to lead by example.
Well, that's why Cat in the Cradle, I have a hard time listening to that when I look at my son. Because if I'm leading by example and I'm not around because I've got a great tour that I can go do for 3 months and make a whole bucket load of cash, and then I've got something else. As soon as I get back, there's always something. You think, okay, let's do that, and then something else comes up. I got a new CD, and when you tie it, grab on a CD, and it's a big CD, you have a lot of hours, a lot of late nights, and I'll see him. I'm up in the morning, and I leave before they're awake, and then I come home before after they're asleep. When I hear that song, I made decisions to pull out. I had a whole recording studio in Scottsdale. I spent thousands of dollars in soundproofing it and equipment. I pulled it all out and said, I'm not going to miss my son. Because if I lead by example, he's going to be just like that song. He's getting the same thing. Sorry, Dad, I just don't have time. I don't have time, to see. So.
But there again, I think it's a matter of choice too. A lot of times you don't have a choice.
Yeah, you do. A lot of times you do have a choice.
When you're in the military,
Well,
trust me,
you
I
have
was
a
working
time frame in the
16-hour days
military.
sometimes, and I didn't have a choice whether I worked 16-hour days.
It's very easy.
Well, that's true in the day, but I mean, I didn't have a choice when I was on the
When
road.
you're talking about, you go to work when they're, before they wake up, and you come home after they're asleep. I didn't have a choice.
I think these days.
But at some point when you come to the end of your term,
A lot of times.
you make that choice.
A lot of times when the weekends came, you can make it up, but it
I
was.
think these days are easier because of the communications.
That's partly true.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I had a cell phone when I was gone all the
That's
time,
true.
it'd be great.
FaceTime and all that.
FaceTime and everything.
You see his face.
And
Oh,
computers.
yeah. I mean, that's,
See him grow.
you definitely have a lot of choices. All right. Four roles I see men are supposed to play. Leader, lover, protector, mentor. If something comes to you during the week, send me some thoughts on this. Like I said, these 4 things I think are important, and it's stuff that we need to really grab hold of as men. The more that I can define these things, what separates us from women, what separates the feminist culture versus the biblical culture, the more I can do that and say it out loud, the better it's going to be. So. God, thank you. Thank you for today. Thank you for the things that you've done for us and the example you've set for us. And God, I pray that you will work in us, help us to become more and more like you in the way that we deal with you and with other people. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.